and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about which degree is better to pursue abroad, whether it's for undergrad, whether it's for postgrad. So should you go to study abroad right after school or right after college? Now, there are a couple of things that I want to say about the video. That is, I'm going to share my very own personal experience as an international student and from people that I have met in my life and online. So it is totally fine if you do not resonate with it anyway, but like just a heads up that don't take any piece of information in this video like a concrete step for your journey. I hope someday I'm qualified enough to do that, but not today. So please not anyway be like, oh, I saw a girl on YouTube say this, so now I'm going to do that. Think before you do. So without further ado, let's get started. So at first, I'm going to share 3 reasons why you should consider studying abroad right after school, and 3 reasons why you should consider studying abroad right after college. And in the end, I'm going to add a personal verdict, which is based on my life and why I took this decision. So, the first reason that I'm going to share for studying abroad right after school is getting a scholarship is much easier than postgrad. So, right after school, I'm taking the entire globe into consideration. I'm not going to just talk about how to crack an Ivy League and stuff. I did not crack an Ivy League, so I don't know. I didn't even apply. But to get a full ride for your undergrad, you need a good GPA, of course, and good IELTS score if you're from a non-English speaking country, and a good set of extracurricular activities and recommendation letters if that's what your scholarship or your university requires, right? So these are like very small things. You don't need to like build a cure of cancer or know how to ride a spaceship to get a scholarship, a full ride in undergrad for studying abroad. It's much easier. Like these are just elementary steps, I'd say. So, oh, also you should write a good personal statement or a study purpose. I think if you can't do that, you don't really deserve a scholarship in undergrad. So that is something very personal and should be unique, of course. And I want to add something in this that is, you could be like, oh, the idea I have, 10 other people has it. Okay, but that is still your idea. Don't let your idea being generic deviate from what you want to write for your personal statement. Okay, so getting a scholarship is easier. That is reason number 1. Reason number 2 is you have more years to apply for a PR than you will have in your postgrad. So undergrad degree is basically of 3 years or 4 years. Here in Europe, it's for 3 years, and outside of Europe, it's usually 4 years, right? So in order to get a PR, you need to invest around 5 to 7 years of your life in a country. You need to stay there, you need to work there, and of course, there are a lot of other criterias you need to fulfill, which varies from country to country, obviously. But the very generic and first criteria is to live there for a certain number of years. Now, for undergrad, you have more years to spend in that country than you have for your master's. So after you're done doing undergrad, you can also do master's in that very country or just go for a job or do whatever, or if you want to shift to another country. But if you want to stay in that country, you have more years. You have already spent more years undergrad. So by the time you do masters and the job even after that, you already have lived amount of time you need to be there to apply for PR, to apply for citizenship, if that's your idea, right? If that's your goal, this is a better option for you. So the reason number 2 is getting a PR is easier. Number 3 that I'm going to share is it might not be applicable for a lot of countries, but if you are going somewhere where English is not the first language, that is applicable. So the third reason that I'm going to share is you have more time to learn the language of that country. So let's say you move to non-English speaking countries. English is not the first language, so you need to learn their own language. So if you, let's say, move to Finland, Germany, countries that put emphasis on their mother tongue, you need to learn the language even when your study program is in English, because you need to live there for a couple of years, and during that time you need to have at least basic level of communication with the locals. And for that, you need to learn the language. Now, for undergrad, like I said before, it's going to be of 3 years or 4 years. So in these 3 4 years, you're at least going to have A1 or A2 level proficiency in their mother tongue. For postgrad, you're doing it for 2 years, 4 semesters, and you might also have a job. So studying and then working and then learning a new language, I think that's a lot to do at the same time. For undergrad, you have more time, you can take it slow, you can take it well. So learning a new language and staying in that country, learning their culture, adapting to their culture, it's much easier in undergrad. Since you're younger, you have more time than when you reach the phase of studying abroad for your postgrad. So these are the 3 reasons that I think why you should consider studying abroad right after school. So number one was getting a scholarship, a full ride specifically, is much easier. Number two was getting a PR would be easier, the pathway. And number three is learning the language of that country is much easier if it's not English. Now, I'm going to talk about 3 reasons why you should consider studying abroad after college, after you have an undergrad degree, like you do your undergrad in your home country. So, the number one reason that I'm going to share is you have more options for scholarship compared to undergrad for your master's. Now, I say it for undergrad that getting a scholarship is easier, but the number of countries that give scholarship international students is less. Yeah, that's just the harsh truth. I wish it wasn't, but it is. For masters, it is actually much more options over there available. If you consider countries like Australia or Canada or other North American countries, I think masters is much better of an option to go for rather than your undergrad, because these countries offer scholarships for masters or postgrad students more than undergrad students. And yeah, you basically have more options. Reason number two that I'm going to share is if you have a spouse or if you have children, then moving with them for masters is easier comparatively than undergrad. So by the time a person does their undergrad, they usually are like what, 24 to 30 or 30 above. So obviously someone might just decide to get married, someone might have their own family. So it's obviously not the best choice to leave them in your home country and then go to another country for studies. If you're a family person, going for masters will be a better choice for you if you have spouse or children that time. I hope anyone of that age or that young does not have family, because I don't think you are mature enough to rear a family on your own or be stable enough to have a married life. But that's just me. So yeah, if you have spouse and children, then moving with them for your masters abroad is easier. Now, the reason number three that I'm going to share is you will have more job prospects. So when you're studying for undergrad, you're younger, you're fresh, you have not a lot of skills if you do, and not a lot of experience if you do for applying to jobs, right? So for undergrad, you might have a bit of difficulties to manage your finances. Trust me, the moment you step outside your home, you start living abroad, you can do everything on your own. People just learn on their own still. there's a lot of other students, a huge number of students can really feel like they're underwater because they cannot manage their finances and they cannot manage jobs. They cannot do well in their jobs and they get fired. So that brings your morale down and your finances, and you're all on your own in a totally new country. So yeah, that's pretty uncomfortable if you're not on a scholarship on top of that. So yeah, when you go for masters, you already have a degree, so you can use that to apply to jobs, to work in other places, and you're also more mature, so you can sustain yourself better than you would have probably if you went for your undergrad. The government of the country you're moving to, they might be more inclined to invest in people with a master's degree. Why? Because they're older, they're more mature, they have more skills, more experience than undergrad people. So yeah, getting a job could be much easier for you if you go for masters than your undergrad. So these were my 3 reasons for going to abroad for your undergrad and 3 reasons for going to abroad for your masters. Now I'm going to share my personal experience and what I think is the ideal pathway to choose. So I think going abroad right after school is the better option. At least that is what the case is for me, for students like me. Why, you may ask? Because I'm right now in Hungary and I am studying on a full ride on a government scholarship. And back in my home country, I was in a private school and I had to pay this massive amounts of tuition every 4 months. It was a lot for my parents as well. So I wanted to have a better future for myself and give my parents some relief that, relax, I can take care of myself and I'm doing it. So there are students who have a lot of financial constraints and who really just want to be by themselves, be independent. So for them, going to abroad right after school is the best option. But if you're someone who's like has financially well off family and you just want to be in a comfortable state for your undergrad, you can do it, then of course, please do it. I'm not saying that just because I think going to abroad after school is the best means you should do it too. If you think that I can study so well in my country, why should I go abroad? Then that's what you do. That's pretty much what I had to say. So if you like this video, do say it in the comments, and even if you didn't like it, please share your valuable constructive criticism in the comments. I'm trying to grow this channel as a way of expressing my thoughts, my opinions, and it's only normal that not everyone will agree with me, and not everyone agreeing with me is actually a true reflection of an intellectually progressive society. That is what I stand for. So that's all for today, and I hope you have a lovely day or night ahead wherever you are.